You're listening to WKIT, Pyramid One World Radio.
Pyramid One World Radio is a lifeline to many listening, and to a direct connection to dimensions and universes you can connect to here at WKIT Radio. From a spiritual perspective, the universe is a high vibrational energetic being that exists beyond the physical realm. This being is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. This energy is often described as an ever-present and ever-flowing stream of love because love is the energy with a high vibrational frequency according to the emotional guidance scale. This is why in many religions, God is synonymous with love. What people often refer to as alignment with the universe means to align with the high vibrational energy of love. The universe is the force at work behind all of our manifestations. The universe is always responding to the energy you send out and bringing you people, situations, and experiences that match your vibrational frequency. When you send out high vibrational and positive energy, you receive high vibrational and positive outcomes. So this is a very important time for everyone listening to dial into this show and speak to Jamie and Maggie Clark at 609-663-0153. Blessings, and love to all.
I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice. Great
Very,
insight.
very cool. Very, very cool. I had,
God bless AI, huh?
after I did it, I had such a lump in my throat because it was so real.
Yes.
You know, something that I had, you think about writing things for like so long and people like tell you different things, but they don't spit out the truth. It's like, it's inside somewhere. That's where you come in. I mean, you can bring out the truth. The cards bring out the truth. And that is like the essence of what we do in our lives. And if we knew what was inside us, boy, we'd be cool.
Yeah, huh? And realize that power that we've always had.
Yeah.
We were born with it.
Yep.
The thing is, too many of us forget it. Or let's put it this way. No, that's the wrong word. We don't remind ourselves that we have it. You know what I mean? It's like you have to remind yourself once in a while, like, hey man, I'm really a cool guy, and like it sounds really, really good linguistically, but energetically,
Well, and that's a big thing, for all of these talkings, what's the result? What is the action? For me, I want the practicality of spirituality. If I'm going to do meditations and mantras, let's see some effectiveness. What is this going to manifest so that I've got a reference? Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. I'm not lazy. I'm not. That's, I am. But the good thing is if we can put this to the test, live our own truths the best that we can, maybe, just maybe there's something to what we're sharing.
Yeah, let me just remind everybody, you can also now on this show and other shows, but on this show mainly, you can text me. Cool. So many people walk around with their nose sitting in their phones. They don't know what they're doing. Their nose, or they drive down the street. Oh, and even worse than that, I'm going to make fun of you right now. All of you that have a mask on when you're all by yourself in a car with the windows up, you're dopey. But anyway, I'm serious. They do it around here. They got masks on. All the windows are up because they have the air conditioner on because it's like 85 degrees outside, and it's like they're sick boys.
That's fascinating.
Anyway, if you want to text me, just text to 863-222-4199. Again, 863-222-4199. If you text to me, I'm watching that. Now, if you also want to get into the chat room, it's so easy. It ain't funny. Put in to your whatever you're doing in Google or whatever. Put in Pyramid One Radio. If you can't spell it, that's your fault. Pyramid One Radio. When you go down the column of things on Google, look for the one that says Pyramid One, and it says Wix on the same line. Click on that where it says Wix. Scroll down when you get there, and there's the chat room. Ooh, and we can argue with your neighbor. I don't care.
God bless technology, man. It's bringing this world together.
Exactly.
More
now,
and more.
If you want to call in and be part of this show, dial 609-663-0153, and you're right here with us. And you get a free reading, and it will scare the skibbies up.
It's not
in a very
scary.
good way. Right.
Well, I want to see everybody come in and get scared.
No, it's not scary.
And the cool thing is that there are so many different tools and modalities in order to gain the insight that we are sharing. And that's what I love is Maggie has her own expertise and her knowledge and talents. I do my thing. And together we're able to get that kind of information, that insight to help other people. And it's really nice because not only do we help others, but we help ourselves too. No longer am I a hypocrite. I'll always keep good for others and myself.
I said it to somebody that listens to where I go in the morning. I said, listen, you got to listen to this show. And they don't like to get on phones or anything else or text or anything else. They just like to listen. But I said, listen, you're going to hear in the show, not just me, which you hear all the time anyway, but I said, you're going to hear yin and yang. They're two people that complement each other 100%. It's two direct 50%. You put them together, ouch. That's like, mamma mia.
And the great thing is she's just being her, the very person that she is, the very person that I've always been. I can't be anything different that may not have quite been understood and vibed with by another person, completely vibed with by us. And she has her own identity. It's that kind of, and the 50-50 is lovely, but I always say we are 100% a person incomplete and they're 100% incomplete. So instead of just 50-50, it's 100. We got 200% in this relationship before we're even starting anything.
Oh yeah. That doesn't even include our spiritual relationships with our guides, right? That's probably 300 or 3,000 or 3,000,000%. Yes. We'll keep climbing up that power couple ladder.
And the great thing is that relationship, those are real. It can happen, because unless you find your own person in this way, it's like, oh, that's lovely. Yeah, you make that connection. I just have to be me, nothing different. And she gets me. That's the brilliant.
If you talk about my daughter, for instance, I tell her all the time, you got to come on, you got to come on, you got to come on. I'm serious. I want her to come on. And, well, Dad, she's high class executive right now. 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever.
For her, excellent.
Oh yeah. That was because I told her. Well, I'm not anybody listening, by the way, and that she calls me crazy. I am crazy. When she wanted to go, she says, Dad, college, I gotta my friends, this and that. I said no, because the first computer that was ever made for PC, for people to use in their homes, was just a keyboard. It wasn't really a whole computer. It was just a keyboard that was a computer, and that's how you did it. And you had little 5.25-inch floppies, and you put them in the floppy thing, and when you had the monitor, and it was like, wow, I'm on a computer. What we know now, okay? But I taught her, since I was in that business anyway, I taught her how to make games and stuff like that on the 5.25. So we were actually coding at that time, but it was basic coding because nobody really knew. They weren't smart enough. Nobody was that smart enough. I worked in a computer room, and where the computer was bigger than me, tall.
Yeah. Yep.
And there was like 40 of them, in a room. Right now, this laptop can do the same job as all 40.
Yeah, huh?
Without the tapes.
Yep.
Oh, so yeah. So you can tell. God, am I old? Oh my God. Anyway, So anyway, she was doing really great at that kind of stuff, and it became like people watching their smartphones she played on the computer. She'd get home from school, she'd do her homework and everything else, and then I'd look at the computer, go, okay, great, good stuff. The TV's on or whatever else, and she'd just disappear. She'd go into my office, and she was in there on the PC, playing all the time. So when it came to college time, I said, I got a better idea. And up in Paramus, New Jersey, which is only like 10 miles off the George Washington Bridge, there was a computer school. And you could actually learn all that stuff, all the new stuff, the new languages and everything else. So her girlfriend was also, she got her girlfriend hit on the computer too. So the two of them, went or whatever. Her father paid for the one, I paid for the other. And it wasn't a cheap education, but it was like something that she enjoyed. Then at the time, I was also doing work with a company that was also in New Jersey, that we were going to bring in business internet. This is before people got the wire in the house. This is when it went through the phone line, but it came in so fast and so big, and it was used by businesses. Well, Sun Chemical was one of my companies, which is Sunoco. So that was one of my customers. And the other customer that was similar, but they did more data and lasers and things like that. So that was summertime, they were hiring some summer people and everything else. And I said, you know what? Why don't you hire my daughter? And the guy said to me, he says, send her down. I had a relationship with all these people. I mean, we did dinners and everything else. So I sent her over. She was hired in 2 seconds or less. I mean, she's not a small girl. She's got to be 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", in that ballpark somewhere. And gorgeous, blonde hair, the whole thing. Yeah, it's unbelievable. For you guys, for me, it's still.
How you doing?
So anyway, she went over to the place, and that she went from that company to another company to another company, and now she's executive vice president of her company.
Awesome. Congratulations to her.
A lot of stuff with governmental, things, and a lot of laser stuff and everything, and a lot of Navy stuff, and stuff. I don't even want to know.
It goes way beyond that. Yeah,
way beyond me. At this point.
It's interesting, but I'll always remember.
Hold on one second.
Yep.
I'm going to relate back to what you said. It's what you have inside of you. It all depends upon what spurns that reality inside of you that brings it out. Something a tarot reader can say, something a psychic can say. Spark. It could be the dumbest thing you'd ever said in anybody's life. But all of a sudden, that human being gets a spark and goes, wait a minute, I can do that. I mean, people call up and they want to know about their jobs and this and that. I always say to people all the time, call, for crying out loud. Everybody call 609-663-0153. And if you don't, it's your fault that you're not getting the reading.
And people are very effective and smart. I have many clients in many different capacities, and some very, very, very abundant companies that use our abilities. They're not stupid. That's the point. You can get a leg up because they're not going to work with you if you're not accurate. It's like, yeah, okay, great. But the good thing is just being genuine, giving them that information, whatever the dynamic is, to allow them, if they choose to, listen to that information and then act on it one way or another. They get the credit. We're just the information. But if we can present it effectively, because I get that a lot going, I've heard that crap 1,000 times, but click. That's the first time I kind of see it that way. And I'm like, good. Question everything and let me know how it goes. They usually come back going, it worked.
Yep.
Yes, because it's the empowerment of realization, man. We all, like you shared, we all have it within. We just tend to look on the outside to validate what we perceive.
Sure. I mean, let's face it. I mean, let's go back to another thing that you mentioned, a soul phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, we're talking about a cell phone. How about calling yourself once in a while? You know what I mean?
Well, I equate it, like I've shared, that right now is kind of like in the early days of the early 1900s when Nikola Tesla, who's one of the A-team members for us, was like, regardless of the distance, the person will be right in front of you and you can put this mechanism in your pocket. And people back then are like, are you crazy? Invisible signals? Sure. It's got to be plugged into a wall. And now we have it. Yeah. So same thing with the soul phone. It's technology. It's only science fiction till it's science fact. That's why I love doing the quantum physics and all those kind of things to go, if it can be practical and connected and systematized and categorized, man, maybe there's something to it. Good thing is, as I always say, question everything. Please just be open. That way they get the practicality of that information.
Let me see who's on the phone over here. Hey, Anonymous, you were on there and you disappeared. Come on, talk to me.
Psych.
I see you over there. You're on the phone. You're listening to us.
Excuse me.
Honest to goodness, you can say hello.
It's okay if they want to just relax. That's cool, man. We're good. Hey, Mag.
Well, actually, I wanted to comment on like calling yourself, because I love that idea.
Yeah.
Because, if you think about it, some of our higher selves are past lives of ours.
Bingo.
So what's the difference between calling a loved one or calling another lifetime? It's absolutely the same thing once you're on the other side or wherever. I mean, who knows, right? The energy never dies. So you're always out there in the etheric energy fields. So you could literally call your higher self, call an aspect of who you are and be like, hey, what's going on? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? What's up? And
because see, exactly like that is my hunger. Because once we get this technologically validated, kind of like the cell phone, and we're doing that, what about other dimensions, other galaxies, other universes? It is all interconnected. And if we're able to connect with our other selves, what about the eternality of you as the cosmic oneness?
But I also feel like this is an inner journey too. So yeah, we might have a soul phone, but consciously, like we have all those answers within. We have the communication within. We have the direct connect when we cultivate it, when we activate it, and when we utilize what's already inherent within each and every one of us.
Everyone.
This is part of our human potential that we're growing into as a species, and we're expanding consciously to be able to receive that potential. So I find that it's almost a thought of mine, like they'll create the soul phone and by then everyone's going to be so psychic and so open with their gifts, they won't even need to pick up a device. It's going to be an instantaneous telepathic, like, hey, I'm right here with you. What's up? And I'm hoping that that's where it goes.
Cell phone might be happening sooner than that tipping point.
Oh, cool.
I hope I'm still breathing when that happens.
Oh, you will be. You will be.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to get on that line.
Oh, it's amazing. It's going to shift consciousness. And
hold
the honor.
Hold that thought, because we're gonna talk about that more. Because the things that are going through my head right now and about asking you questions. Woo!
Bring it, baby. We got insight. We'll share, man.
God, give me strength. God.
You really want to keep asking that, because they'll bring you more circumstances to keep strong about.
No, let me tell you something. He's been pretty good, because like my whole family is gone, just about, except for my sister and my daughter, and that's it. Everybody else, poof. They hit a couple of years back, and they're gone. They're out of here. So, and I'm still breathing and feel good.
That's brilliant.
So I don't know how to, whatever.
It's funny, but I always say we live our entire life in one breath. For when we come in, we breathe in, and when we go out, we breathe out. The trick is to breathe, and you'll live.
You know who I said that to? You said that before on another show, and I did use that. The last time, let me see now, because I'm getting hell for it now, and I haven't a full what's his physical in, like, I don't know, 2.5 years or something like that. And the doctors and everything else, that I get texts, I get messages from them, I get emails from the insurance company and everything else. Oh, you got to wait for your rental. But I said, look, you know what I mean? Like, look, would you bring your? I said to them, would you bring your car to a shop if nothing was wrong with it? Duh.
Not unless you need to get a checkup. Yeah, exactly.
I said to them, the second I feel that there's something wrong, I'm going to be there.
That's excellent, because not everyone will do that. And that ignorance is not bliss all the time. It's like, become aware of what's going on so that we can act on it in hopefully the most productive way for us, and always helping others.
We did have somebody on the phone, but they hung up.
That's okay, man.
I'm telling you right now, those people listening to us may be on their own computer or maybe on their phone.
Cool, beautiful.
Because I know there's a university over here, and that the girls over there and that say, well, we listen to that all the time. Boy, you're crazy. I said, good. You listened? Good.
Perfect. And again, you're only crazy till it's validated. That's why I love doing these scientific studies. It's putting a little bit more of the practicality to this spiritual stuff. So
But
it goes from airy-fairy to,
don't they drive you nuts? I mean, come
it's
on.
the acclamation of humanity. They got to. We have to start someplace.
Yeah. There's a lot to be read in between those lines.
Yes, you're correct.
But what I was going to say was, in my past, and I've also been, working with a couple of people that were in the science field, put it that way. Actually, more biology than anything else. And they were going into, the live cells and the live this and all the parts and everything else. And then I got into the radio business many, many, many moons ago. And somebody does psychic surgery and all that kind of stuff and can tell, what parts of your body and that aren't working right and all this kind of stuff. That's another psychic part of this whole thing. What most people don't take seriously is when I say to them, your body is more than alive. It's universal. And they being like, what did he say? I said, this is, maybe you're here. Maybe you're standing here. This was actually when I said that to somebody, it was, what was it? Starbucks or something I was at, one of those places. And they turned around and they said, yeah, but that's impossible. I said, no, it isn't. I said, are you open your mouth? Did you just talk? I said, are you breathing? I said, are you warm? I said, no, you are universal. I said, if you were to take away, I said, if I went like this, if I made God, boom, everything's gone and just you and I are standing here on a white plane. Nothing around, just you and I standing here. Would you be doing the same thing you are right now? I guess so. So if that was the way it was, then you're part of a big wheel, and that wheel is the universe. We're all here. We all go around. We're all a spoke in that wheel. So if it wasn't for being able to understand the part you play on the spoke in the wheel, if you put that together, you would realize why you're here, what you're doing, why you should be who you are, and why you should try to be who you'd like to be.
Right. Be the best you can. Yes.
Exactly. And, I'm telling you, if more people, I wish, I really, really do. I mean, before I go to, I always say my prayers anyway, but I always ask if people that I talk to or people that I relate to in any way whatsoever would just understand that our life may be short on this end, but it's not, because it goes on and on and on and on. So all the things that you're doing right now, you don't know it, but it's in you on and on and on and on. So if you could change yourself and be like the best thing in the whole world, imagine what you would be on and on and on. You'd be unreal, unbelievable. And I always relate back to the word love, because the word love, of course, is energy. And if you can base your life on love, there's nothing you can do wrong.
And that's what allows everything to be. Exactly. Right. It's all consciousness. It's all an amazing experience. And if we can, absorb it, do the best we can, realize we chose in our own way. We weren't made to come here. We chose to come here in this density and vibration and all that kind of good stuff. That it's also, I share the fact that I'm not a doctor or scientist, nothing. But I believe that they've found that humans are basically energy, vibrational light beings. And as I always say, well, that definition of being energy in quantum physics, they found that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But then I say, but wait a minute. That means in a very scientific, quantifiable way that we are eternal and we have always been. And yet this universe has only been here 14.8 billion years. Yeah, we may not be from this universe. I'll guarantee you we are not from this universe. It goes way beyond that, but moves from, to, hey, quantum physics. That spiritual stuff, it's all happening.
You can't, I mean, you're saying 14 billion years. 14 million, I think you said, a billion.
Yeah, I think it was 14.8 billion. I believe that humans.
No, I think you're right with the billion. But if that is the case, okay, just imagine, if you could, the beginning. Now, they keep saying the Big Bang, but who said or who was ever there to know whether it was a big bang or little bang or no bang?
She bang.
Really, seriously. I mean, if you went all the way back in that to all those places, and that you would never, not a million years. And we are here because of that.
Yes. And that's the point. The co-creation, not manipulation.
Co-creation. Hey, look where all the life started. Now think about it. Think about the Bible, for instance, or anything. Let's go all the way back to let's go back to the rib. Okay.
No. Let's go back to the skull bone before the rib.
I'm hungry. That was a rib.
Because that Lilith did exist before Eve. So we'll go back to the skull bone. Yes.
You go back to the skull bone. my point is, if you went all the way back to that point, okay, that was a point when there was nothing but an imagination or an idea that there's going to be a male and a female. And that's the way it's going to be, male and female. And they're going to have kids, and those kids are going to have kids and everything else. So really, if you want to look at on this planet where you started, it wasn't where we're sitting.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about life, the beginning of life.
I love to push buttons, but and again,
go
show my ignorance. For Adam and Eve, I believe that they're saying that Eve came from the rib, and I believe on average people see them as Caucasian white people. However, if that is the case, and we only come from that, how is it genetically possible to get Native Americans, African Americans, all of these different colors in a way of that?
Well, I must interject here because I know a little thing about Lilith, who came before Eve from the skull bone. And
I feel safe.
There are some historical documents that say she was black as night with the most beautiful, like, blue eyes, with the color of the sea.
Yes.
And so here we do see that Lilith was removed from the Bible, and you'll find her in the Nag Hammadi scrolls thousands of years later, because they hid those, to preserve some kind of truth that got removed from the Bible. So here you see a female taken from the skull bone, which was in more of an equality type of relationship with Adam, versus being taken from a rib bone, which says she is underneath him on some level. So we see a lot of historical biblical knowledge being removed with African American references, with references to powerful feminine energies. And so I just want to point out that these are stories. Everything biblical are stories about creation, stories that are made up most likely. Because we don't really know. We do not really know. But if you want to dig into bloodlines, if you want to dig into some historical things, read Genesis of the Grail Kings. I mean, that book in its entirety will blow your mind and help you understand that we might be seeded here from other alien races, that it's not just human beings that were created from God. We might have been created from saying, hey, let's see if we can create a new species, and we'll plop them here on Earth. And it could be a lot of different alien races came together to have that work and to have that function. And then that relates to maybe all the different colors of skin that we have on this planet, all the different types of looks and talks and languages that develop. Of course, we're in different parts of the world. That describes some of the language barriers as well, in different languages. But, we want to remember that you cannot just go by one historical reference called the Bible, because it has been crafted, things have been removed, things that have been misinterpreted or interpreted in a way that doesn't even exist anymore. And so throw away 2,000 years ago. Let's just throw it away. Okay, throw away 4,000, throw away 6,000 years ago. That is so archaic to think that we could base our spiritual consciousness around something that was written when we weren't even spiritually evolved. We were still killing each other. Okay, we're still killing each other on this planet now.
I was going to say.
But I'm going to tell you,
we never grew up.
It's archaic. It is archaic. So for us to even think that we can go back to a text that has taken Sophia, the queen of the heavens, taken the counterpart to God, the feminine counterpart to God out of the Bible, and taken all the feminine energy that was powerful and debased it. I mean, it's just archaic. And so we need to step out of our comfort zones when we're looking at the spiritual universe, at our spirituality. Our comfort zones are what was taught to us as a child. Okay, religion, Bibles, other things. Of course, Bibles in our culture here, different historical and spiritual texts in other cultures, but look at them as stories to teach you spiritual lessons. Take that, run with it, live the truth that abides within you, how you resonate, and throw the rest away. Because if I lived my life by a Bible, who would I look up to as a female? Who would I look up to? Mary Magdalene? Completely defamed. Lilith, taken out of the Bible. Who else? Who can I look up to? Eve, she was underneath Adam, not even considered an equal, and then of course she ate the apple. So all sin resides in feminine energy. So really, when I'm a little bit crazy passionate right now, but when we think about this is archaic.
You're in trouble. What are you talking about?
There is there's no strong balance of feminine, the divine feminine and the divine masculine that is taught from that historical text. And it just needs to be like tossed to the side. Take what's good with it. Take the love from Jesus. Take his teachings of healing and expanding consciousness and walking on water and healing people. Take all the positive things, but throw away the rest. Because right now, what the world needs is to come into a spiritual balance. And that includes the divine feminine with the divine masculine as equal partnerships. So this universe that we are in can be spiritually unified and balance the yin and the yang.
And it is. Just will you allow it to be?
You can't. That was wow. Wow. Yeah. I would definitely. I would recommend to anybody on two legs to listen to what you said.
Yeah.
What I was going to say was, what about Jesus Christ when he said, "I am." Real women to look up to. How about Mary? There wouldn't have been a Jesus without a Mary.
Well, you mean Mother Mary?
Mother of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they kept Mother Mary. They did keep her, and they made her iconic. They really did. But you know what? She didn't have sex? Okay, so who can relate to that in our culture now? Throw her away too.
Could have been this alien stuff in.
Oh, that's true. I like that theory.
Come on now. I mean,
I like that theory.
I mean, if you read the story, they have some detailed stories from the script. What was that? The manuscripts or whatever it was that they found. They had some really, really cool stuff in there. That there were these lights and everything else, and that there could have been, and some of the writings and some of the depicted, how would you say it, illustrations of different things, and that they could have been aliens. They just were so brainful, immature, that they wouldn't know how to explain it or depict it. So that we today could understand what the hell they were talking about.
Well, honestly, there's a lot of interesting things in the Bible with angels and with the Nephilim, because you could have had an angelic species with wings walking the face of the planet, and they were an alien species. That is a huge potential that we see. The Nephilim were referred to with scale-like skin, so we could have had reptilians here and walking amongst humans. Oh, I know that. But I mean, more visible, I guess, amongst humans at that time. And so we have to remember, we weren't there when these things were written. Before 2,000 years ago, these things were written. We weren't there. So let's just throw it away. Let's not live truth by something that we don't even have a frame of reference for that in our culture right now.
Remember.
Right. And so we have to be here now, right? I am He said it, right? He said, I am.
I am.
Every great philosopher said to be or not to be, right? That is the question. I am. It's been, I mean, this has been on the table with any spiritual text that you read is going to be about being in your power, in your I am presence, and it's going to be about faith. Those two things, I would say, okay, grab a hold of those and keep them in your heart because there's truth. There's truth if everyone is saying it. But the things that divide us, the things that create division, we no longer need to feel that we're separate from our source. We no longer need to feel that there's a God somewhere outside of us. We have divinity within us. All we have to do is be I am. And so I love these conversations because we bring in all these references that we've been indoctrinated with and conditioned with and imprinted with. And I'm going to encourage everyone to reach in, root out the things that just have no relevance to who you are in this moment. Because if you look at the I am presence of who you are, does it have any relationship to any of those things? Keep your faith, keep your love, keep your devotion, keep your prayer, keep your honorings, keep the things that are special to you, but throw away what we've been taught because it's not going to work. And it's archaic. And the more that we can toss that to a side, we are making room in our consciousness to expand into more of a spiritual breath of life, to more of our own divinity, to more of our own magnificence. We're here to be amazing, beautiful human beings and to have fun.
And be human.
And be human.
In this case.
Yeah, well, that's a root. What was I going to say? When we began, for instance, what Maggie's talking about, and I'm going to leave it because I know you had something to say. I don't want to butt in, but there was a cell. You want to talk about billions of years? There was a cell, just one little cell, and now there are different facets, different type of people. Like, for instance, I forget what planet it is, but they have the ones that look like praying mantis things. They have reptilians. They have all types of different types of cells that must have, if anybody knows anything about research out there, can start with one cell.
Isn't that what we do? We start with one cell and we replicate 50 trillion times?
Bingo. All it is one little fish and an egg. That's it. End of story. And the miracle of the whole thing is people don't look at it. They just look at it, for instance, and I'm not going to pick on women or men or anything else, but the fact of a person having another person, making another person. It's not made. It's not constructed. Nobody went in there and said, oh, well, the arm goes on the left hand. Is that the left one or the right one? Nobody did all that kind of stuff. It's a miracle. All of these things were to the fault of one cell, just one.
What if there's just a potential that some of the orchestration of life and of those cells, and I'm not a doctor or scientist, nothing, but I believe in the human body, they call it laminin, Laminin, which Chi calls it the God cell. But I believe that laminin is the orchestrator of the cellular structure, meaning it knows with the eyeball cells or the eyeball cells, the finger cells or the finger, it's all of those perfectly aligned that on average creates the human form in this case. Somebody described that to me a long time ago, and that they said, it's like a lawnmower. And I said, huh? Can you look at it? Does it run? No. Can you push it fast and it goes? No. Can you wind it up and it goes? He said, no, but you have to really pull it really fast to get it going. He said, you have to put energy into it. And he said, there's your cell. That's the master. Everything else that you do with that lawnmower is what the cell did. Cut the grass, the weeds, everything else. Everything changes because of the one cell. And I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, this is back when I was a little kid and going through science and stuff. What if symbolically and literally that's the case? Start with one cell, as well as every experience on here starts with one thought. It's all about the one stuff.
That's why psychic is so important, and so is tarot. Both of them come from realms that are around us all the time and inside us all the time. It's just someone who can interpret those feelings.
Yep, works with it. Yep, exactly. Everyone
with
can
energy.
it. Yes.
And that's the whole. And there's not. I mean, people say, "Oh, there's a million out there." Yeah, but a million of them that can like get it like this. That don't beat around the bush or anything else. I'm not that kind of. God, if I was ever a politician,
you wouldn't last.
No, I would last. Washington wouldn't.
And we all have that potential. Everybody is psychic. Everyone is a psychic. Yes. Everyone has that potential.
And do you want to use it? What level do you want to take it to?
Yeah. Well, just like anything else, Nat, this is the now. And since we live in the now is when we should do anything that would help us in any way we possibly can.
Right.
Hold on. Anonymous, you're back again. Why don't you say hi? Come on, just a little bit. I see you.
We see you. That's cool if they don't want to.
He or she is there, and I wish they would just say, hi, how you doing?
Cool. Hey, how you doing, huh? Good. Yeah. Bada bang. That's cool. Just listen, relax into it. But I'm always the oddball with and I believe it's referred to as the big flood, the Noah's Ark.
Noah and everything else, yeah.
Right. Because for me, I don't feel like it was worldwide because, again, kind of like the Adam and Eve, if they're Caucasians, and if Noah was Middle Eastern or in a way that lighter skin and the whole world were flooded, how is it possible that within that short period of time, thousands of years or whenever it was supposed to have happened, that we're able to genetically get all of these other races as we perceive it from one aspect? And then we have a person, April, who is our researcher, and she's very good at what she does. And apparently it might not have been the entire planet, but an area that was affected and flooded, not the whole planet. Because that's why the Asians, the African Americans, the Native American, all those people are allowed to be because they weren't necessarily affected by that.
Well, don't forget how many crazies that thought that the Earth was flat.
Yeah, some still do.
Yeah, some of them still do. You're right, but if somebody just had a tall chair, they could just get up on the chair and go, "Oh, it's not flooded out there."
Yeah, but how many people did that?
None.
Right.
None.
Sometimes they just want to be directed. And my thing is God, I got an insatiable. I question everything. But what about this? And what about that? And does it mean this? What about this? Because that way, if we can get the practicality of spirituality, doing all the scientific studies and all that, puts a little bit more of a perspective on it to go, well, if it's scientifically validated, kind of like electricity, maybe there's something to it. It moves beyond the, to, here's some information, be practical. You've got to be able to fit that in. Otherwise, it seems to always be, someday, man, that someday is now. When I unify with the oneness, it could be a gazillion years, yet it's in the moment. I don't know how to explain it, except that that's exactly how it is. And those two words, I am, are exactly the mantra that I keep experiencing when I have that unification. I am. That's it. Just I am. Everything after that, you are.
But do you see how it changes you, though, when you think about it? Or that you say it? And many, many times, and both of you have heard me say it, about going in front of a mirror and saying, I love you.
Yeah.
So it's the word, it's the intent, it's the energy that is coming out, but it's bouncing back. You're getting your own engine back to you.
Right.
So it energizes you, and then you walk out the front door to go to work or wherever you're going to go, and you feel like $1 million. Did you ever try to figure out why you feel like $1 million? Because you are $1 million. Bam.
Yeah. And so much more. And when we can live that, the good thing is, I'm right there with you. It becomes a reflection of consciousness. You're just looking in a mirror, but yet you're talking to yourself, kind of like it's all us. It's all one. That's why it's, there's no wrong choices. It's like, really? Well, there's an inappropriate and appropriate choice. But on that quantum physics type of thing, which Chi, it's why I shared before, and that is every time I merge with the oneness, my soul is full. I don't have any regrets, and I could have, and I should have chosen this and that. And I asked Chi, I'm like, Chi, how is it possible that I don't have regrets when I merge with the oneness, that everything is as it is? And he said, well, Jamie, on a quantum level, all potential experiences are happening now. All potential outcomes are happening now. Just because you're not consciously aware of all of those other realities does not mean that your information and life experience isn't being registered into your Solodex as an eternal soul print of consciousness. We are always complete. It just becomes, what focus do you want to do to bring that particular reality to the surface of consciousness? In this case, those who talk about lack are living it. Those who talk about abundance are living it, and you don't see successful people go around saying they're a failure. No luck, no coincidence, precision on the universe's part.
So we're pretty nifty people,
Yeah, and we got the guts to be here, suckers.
I don't know,
but it's a great adventure. And again, they need to be the inside out, because in a cosmic way, we're not going to save this planet from itself, because if we did that, which is a very lovely intent, however, we save this planet and the people, the humans in this case, don't change, and then they start taking over other planets and other worlds, guess who's going to feel bad about that? To go, well, we had the right idea and intent, but we didn't realize they'd go murder, or whatever the case is. So it becomes inside job. We're now the star seeds, right? Because you're in human form. It's not an outside experience. It's an inside, from the inside out, that reflection of consciousness.
I look at all these people that want to live on the moon, and then they want to move.
What if they do?
Mars? Oh no, they're going to do it.
They already have.
No, whether they have or not. I mean, I'm talking about what we know now, and what we think we know. But I mean, anybody could say anything. I mean, it's like prove it. Prove it to me. Show me your camp.
That's why I love the scientific studies. Exactly. Put the practicality. If you can systematize, categorize, all that kind of stuff, maybe there's a little bit more validity to it. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yep. Again, it's whatever you perceive as your reality is.
My dad used to say, and this when I was a little kid, he said, if I can put it in your hand, it's really there. If I go like this and say I put something in your hand, would you believe me? And I said, but there's nothing there. And he said, right.
Except, depending on what it is. Because if you have your hand there and I put oxygen, you're not going to see it. But that's what helps us, in this case, in the human form, stay there. It's all energy. Just to me. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Kind of like the soul and the quantum level of all these experiences and stuff. Just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean it's not there. It's always there. So it's a matter of the evolution of your conscious thought. Well, you want to see because you want to bring up that reality, bip, and that's where sometimes those deja vus happen, or that, like, it's weird. I haven't done this, but I've done this. I haven't done this, but I've done this. Yeah, you have. On a quantum level, it has all been done already. And then we get into, for the past lives and all these future lives, because most people tend to see it as linear time frames, and here's the past, present, and future. And what if it's really like this? Right now, everything is happening. The ability to tap into those channels or frequencies and unify it to be able to connect. Or something like that.
Sounds like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, and it'll keep happening until you change the thought.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's really that's kind of wild. I'm just putting it so that people can understand what the hell we're talking about here.
I amused myself.
I understand you, but I've been talking to you for a while, so.
Yes, you do, and you have.
It's got some of it's stuck.
But it's also nice to know that we're not alone, because sometimes in this, people feel alone. Goes, anyone else experiencing this? Because Lordy, I don't have anyone to talk with. Yep. So now, it takes a lot of guts to be able to use your abilities that everyone has, but do you want to use it, and what level do you want to take it to? Because for me, I was born be here in this life experience. I didn't know what I was here for until I started doing what I'm doing. Because I've always, hey, we got to pay the bills. We all got to do this. But I'm like, yeah, but what am I here for? It's not just to exist. There must be something that I can contribute or whatever the case was. So it allowed me to evolve my own awareness as to it's all one. There is no separation, truly. I always kind of equate it like even the planets and all this is like we're all in the ocean. The ocean is each little droplet, and each little droplet is the whole ocean. Is that too much? Then stay a little droplet, because you never do. If you think you only stay one droplet, I always say take a glass of a bunch of droplets of water and 1 drop of iodine and drop it in and see what that drop of iodine does. It merges with all the other droplets to a certain extent. So it becomes the ability, just to me, to have that conscious awareness to go, man, I know that the more I know, I don't know nothing, but I'll share my perspective. And if we can come together and get different perspectives, sometimes from that different vantage point, you get a different way of seeing things. Like, I've heard that crap 1,000 times, but click, it's the first time I kind of see it that way, and let's see where it goes. I'm like, good, question everything and be open. And when they can be practical, so that it's not, I feel like I'm being overtaken. It's like, man, only if you allow that to happen. What if we're all the oneness, and you can have as much or as little if we can find out some of the tools and techniques to manifest that.
What I'd like to do though at one point or another, and I think Maggie would be really, really good at it too. I would love to, and somehow or another we got to do some kind of a marketing thing on this. But actually open up a room like this, on a thing like this with anybody. I don't care who calls.
Yeah.
Who comes in. Could be anybody. Come in with a question in your mind. One question per person. Could you imagine how many people would be enlightened by listening to all of those questions? Everybody has a different question, different things, and everything else. Like I just had one come in about the dog soul.
Cool. What was that?
On a text. I got a text. And what about the dog souls? And that I had talked about it on another show.
And how did you respond, if I may ask?
They have souls.
Yeah.
It's
just another vehicle.
I mean, I didn't see any of my dogs on the other side, but when I finally go and I finally do the big one, I'm telling you, there's a farm on the other side of this thing. It's got everything from mice to gerbils to hamsters to snakes to what else do they have? Crabs.
But look at what you're saying.
Notice
the familiarity of our connection. You beautiful fur babies will come back and meet him as the fur babies. Grandpa will still be grandpa. What about all the other lifetimes you've been in and all the other vehicles you've had? To me, that you don't always look the same in every lifetime, and you're not always just a male or always just a female. What if it's a blending of everything?
You know what? Wait a minute. Do you know what's really, really weird? Mm-hmm. On the other side, you see someone as you imagine they should look like, but you're not like you looked like.
Right.
You are a light figure.
Vibration light being. Yep.
You are not. You don't have a blue shirt on or anything else. But what your energy remembers from what you saw is what comes back. And it's same thing from their side. Their side, they're going to see you like they saw you the last time. But the two bodies are energy, light, people.
Not only that, animals, insects, it's only a vehicle to house your soul print of consciousness. That's it. That's why I'm saying that they'll stay in this case for familiarity. They want to keep us comfortable, because if they came back as whoever it was in some other lifetime, you'd be like, who the frick are you? I'm used to the other vehicle, not that one. So it's all about comfort.
And that's when you get really good reading different energy soul prints of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When they can show themselves in different forms and you're like, wait a minute, that's the same soul. Hey, I got that. That happened to me once with mediumship with a friend of mine who'd passed, and I didn't really connect with her at all for like 8 years. And then she showed up in a completely different form. And her face was still the same. Everything else was completely different, absolutely 100% different. And I just don't think I could connect with her because I wanted to really connect with what I remembered. And she's like, no, you're going to see me for who I truly am. Like, and when you're ready to see me for who I truly am, I'll let myself be seen by you. There was some like feeling that encompassed. And I was like, oh, beautiful, beautiful.
And, you know, it's us that we see things. And let me give you, for instance, today, for a little while, and at about, I guess about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, something like that, I was watching a little bit of stuff on the news. Then I switched news again, and I'm watching all these people. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hone in on them, not what they're saying, but who they are and what they're doing and how they're doing it. Anything from the eyes to the way they move, you know, like checking them out that way. And it was pretty funny because, like us, just like we do here, we are regular everyday people. But when people are in front of a camera and they're doing their thing and everything else, there's only one guy that I picked out that was himself, off and on any camera, anywhere, anytime. And that was one of the guys on Newsmax. Thank you. I said it. But on the other hand, the things in that were up, some of these guys, you can feel their spiritual beliefs. It's the way they say things. It doesn't sound like they're reading. Some of them, I mean, let's face it, everything is printed out. It's all on there from Associated Press and all these things. But some of the people actually color what they're reading with their own feelings. And some of them will steer you by talking to you on those news things, like the guys that I watched the other day, which I enjoyed watching, actually. He turns around and he says, "This is my opinion." The first thing out of his mouth. He doesn't turn around and say, "This is,"
right,
or "it is," or "this is what they said." You know, doesn't blame or anything. Gives it a story in his opinion. That's why he changes all the words. Same thing, same story, exactly the same outcome. It's just the way it's fed to you so that you can either accept it or not accept it. That's why a lot of people that we talk about them being in there now. We talk about I am. We talk about, a billion other things in that about someone. And I always say to somebody, I said, you are you, period. That's it. End of story. I said, you can't be anybody else. I said, you could want to be a transition woman or something like that. It's still you. Doesn't matter what it is. You could put a wig on, funny things, high-heeled shoes, and break both legs. That's because of the heels.
Okay, what?
He hasn't practiced in a while.
Exactly.
Get some.
But you do all those things and everything else, but it's still you. You know, this is the way you were born. If you turn out to be the worst guy on 2 legs, it was your fault. You did it. Nobody else did it. You can blame it. You can blame anything. You can blame, fatherless, motherless, living in, squalor. There's a billion different things people can blame things on. But some of the people that are successful today are people who came from places that you would never expect them to be coming from based on what you're looking at now.
Yep. You never really know a person's past or what they've been through as they sit before you.
Exactly. So the thing is to not look at a person for where they came from or anything else, but look at the person for who they are. And if they did more of that, and not saying like this guy is this good, but those guys over there, they're all going to be bad. Well, who said so? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just a guy that grew up around, worked in New York City for 25 years. I mean, I went up to people who people would run from, and I'd say, "Good morning," or "How you doing?" They look at me like I was crazy, even for going even near them. But I mean, they would turn around and say, "Hey," And then there was, let me see, I'll give you another one. There was a bunch of women over on the west side. They used to stand on corners in the morning. I'm not going to go any further than that.
You don't have to. Right?
But the bunch, I used to ride in most of the time and out on my motorcycle. It's only 10 miles, so poof, into Manhattan, boom, 1, 2, 3, and that I had no problem with parking. I used to stick in the elevator and bring it up to my floor.
It's good. Wow.
And it was a big bike. But I mean, all these things, all the women on that corner used to say good morning to me every morning.
And Dee's like, what?
one day I came in from Jersey and I got a bunch of bagels and cream cheese and everything. Those people stand there and it look like they're going to starve to death. You know what I mean? It's like 6 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning. So I gave them this bag of bagels and I said, here, enjoy. And they said, well, what's in the bag? I said, never mind. Just enjoy. The next morning when I came back, oh man, no wonder I didn't die. They were like, oh, thank you, all over the place. But you see what I mean? It was the person bringing the person out of that person. The real them were very thankful, nice, gentle people. It's the outside facade that they had to put on for the rest of the world.
Yes.
And we all do it every day. Well, let's face it, if any of us, when we're going to do something, that we put on a facade. This is, what we are. This is our facade. But when we are all by ourselves or somewhere or together or whatever, we're different people. We're crazier. We're more serious. We're absolutely bananas sometimes. I mean, let's face it. I mean, have you guys ever cooked a dinner together?
Oh, no, all the time.
Not at all.
I mean, which one's afraid to go near the other one?
No, hey, we dance, man.
We dance in the kitchen. Beautiful. If we bump into each other, we just start dancing.
And it's great.
Go back to what
she's talented.
You see what I'm talking about, though? I mean, it's things like this that make us better people all the time.
Being you,
or more together, or whatever. I mean, all these people that say racist this and there's a million different things that are going on out there. I mean, come on. I'm sorry. I worked in New York. I knew. I don't care. I mean, there's not enough colors in the 48 Crayola, what's this coloring box, that I didn't either touch, talk to, speak to, do business with. Every single one of them were the best people on the planet. Every single one of them. I don't care what color you are. I really don't. If you have an AR-15 in your hand or something like that, I'll just say, do me a favor, point it that way. It's a crazy thing, but they would if I asked them. It's who
and to have enough guts to make the communication.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
Does.
That's why what you two do, and to me, and I've said it to a billion people, is the most important thing we have going for us right now is to know who you are. How many times did I play that song and I got kicked out of YouTube a billion times?
Oh.
Who are you? That is the question.
That's the key. And when you can begin to answer that in some way, it begins to kind of feel your essence with love, with compassion, with understanding that no one's the same. We're all different. There's as many worlds as there are perceivers. Nobody sees it the same, yet each just as real and just as valid. So it becomes the co-creation of those experiences and dynamics that we share a life together with others, because they never complete you. They only complement you. So I'm saying for this relationship that Mag and I have, that stuff's real. You can find the love of your life, and it doesn't have to be, someday. It's like, hey, there was no guarantees until we finally got a chance to make this connection. And the great thing is both of us are just being us. But it was in the right time, at the right way, that we got to make this connection, and we're here in this beautiful marriage, in this beautiful relationship.
You guys say it all the time, but I always say America's dynamic duo.
Yeah,
it's on the block.
We're honored. We're honored.
On the block. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, the two of you guys are like, forget about it. I mean, I can almost see the sparks.
Yes. Yes.
She's gonna kill you, sucker.
They're gonna see your sparks, boy. Oh, okay. I play because she's so loving. I can't help but go.
Don't worry about it. I got the what's his auto dial into Tesla right now.
Yeah.
Hello, Tesla. How you doing? Listen.
What if they're hungry to help us to help ourselves? Aren't we right now living on the other side of where we come from before here? Does that mean we must have died wherever it is? Or could it just be a shift in consciousness, vibrational patterns of energy? What if there in what we perceive as real because it's solid, right? Nothing's solid. It's all energies and vibrations and all that kind of stuff. What if they're hungry to bridge that connection of communication, that bridge of consciousness, that they're able to, and all we have to do is listen because they're talking with us, but they're also giving us the technology, the frequencies and the modulators and all that kind of stuff to go. It'll move from to, well, they'll have no choice but to go, well, however you guys got that information, well, it's sitting here. So apparently there's something to it or you wouldn't have it. I'm like, right. Question everything. But once we get that, then it's going to open the door of consciousness for many other ways of communication. Then we get into more of the effectiveness to go, and we're ETs to everyone else. It's very relative. So you start making those connections. Let's go intergalactic. Let's go to other universes, other dimensions. Let's bring this on, man. And if it's all happening now, unify with the oneness.
I have a really creepy feeling that somehow, some way, those little ETs are not. They've been here already. They're here probably at this time. But the idea of the thing that I have in my mind is somehow they are going to get in touch with humanity. Somehow. I think it's going to be mental. I think it's going to be telepathic. That they're going to plant something in our minds that is going to change us. Not like, you know, we're not going to jump up in the air and go, oh, he's here. No, that's not going to happen. Things are going to change for the better. It's going to take a little while. It's not going to be overnight. These guys ain't going to touch everybody all at the same time because there are guys with firewalls in their minds. You know what I mean? It's like if you're going to get past it, good luck. You know, I'm sure you bounce into people like that all the time. People who you can't read, at least not completely.
Yep.
I mean, I can see you punching through anything, but as far as
and the good thing is if we can do that, it can help us to help ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's the brilliance of it. It's a tool that everyone has. Do you want to use it, and what level do you want to take it to?
Yep. Ronald Reagan said it once. Take this wall down.
I believe he's also the same gentleman who I believe like 13 different times said, I wonder how many of you would set aside your differences if we were faced with an alien threat. 13 times, not once, more than that. And this is, as we perceive it, a leader of the United States. Could be a little bit more than what they share with us.
Look, let's face it. I mean, Eisenhower met them.
Yeah. If you'll put away your bombs, we'll give you the technology to unify this entire planet. Free energy, all that. They haven't done it.
Nope.
Because people won't put them away. Well, if we did that, then someone else could. It's like now that fear factor is a big thing that's been permeated on humanity for quite some time. Fear is a big motivator and demotivator, depending on how they want to present it.
A motivator. Motivator.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Maggie, you had something on the mind. You were going to say it 2 seconds ago.
Nope. It went in and out.
Wait a minute. I quoted over here. Well, there it goes.
Yeah.
I was like, woo.
And the good thing is it's instantaneous. And when we can start to realize that it's all one, everything's interconnected and all that, it becomes a little bit more empowering, a little less fearful, and having a little bit more understanding potentially in some way. Because what we don't understand, we tend to fear. And on average, what we tend to fear, we usually want to crucify.
You know, to everybody that's listening to this show tonight, and anybody that watches it later, trust me, this thing's going to be all over the place.
Yes.
But anybody that watches it later, listen to me very, very carefully. What we're talking about is you. We're not talking about us. In a sense, we're taking our feelings, our situations, our categorizations and everything, and saying like, hey, this could be you. Is it you? Ask us. Tell us. And we'll tell you what you could do to make you a better person.
Beautifully said. Good. Perfect, man. I love it.
And
always good, baby.
When we're talking about the universes and everything else, watch the next one.
Yeah.
See, now I feel like Biden. Oh, yes, we're going to do this stuff. Oh. I'm gonna whisper on my microphone. Oh dang. Oh yeah, listen, we were here having a great time. A really, really, really great time. Everybody out there, listen to me very carefully. This show is for you, not for us. We had a fun time making it. You'll have a very, 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 very fun time listening to it. But after you listen to it, think about it. Think about what we're saying. Does it relate to you? Could it make you better? Kids, dogs, the world. Not bad, huh? God bless y'all. Bob Charles.